You've probably been told that if a woman isn't interested, you should either give up, move on, or try harder to prove yourself. Put in more effort, be more available, show her how much you care. But here's the uncomfortable truth most men never hear. Women don't miss men because they need them. They miss men because those men create a powerful emotional presence even when they're not around. This video isn't about tricks, manipulation, or fake confidence. And it's definitely not about begging, chasing, or trying to convince a woman to choose you. In fact, those are the fastest ways to destroy attraction. What we're going to talk about today is psychology, real human behavior, how attraction actually works beneath the surface. Because indifference is not permanent, it's a reaction, and reactions can change when perception changes. A woman losing interest doesn't mean you failed. It means the dynamic shifted in a way that removed curiosity, respect, or emotional tension. And once you understand how that happens, you can learn how to reverse it calmly, confidently, and without saying a word. By the end of this video, you'll realize something important. Making a woman miss you isn't about luck. It's about understanding the game most men were never taught and playing it differently. Here's something most men don't want to hear but need to understand. The harder you chase a woman, the faster attraction disappears. Chasing feels natural. You're interested, so you show effort. You text more. You try to impress her. You look for ways to prove your value. But in female psychology, this approach almost always backfires. Why? Because chasing flips the balance of power. Instead of her feeling lucky to have your attention, she begins to feel comfortable having it. And comfort without tension doesn't create desire. Nobody misses what they already have unlimited access to. When you're constantly reaching out, checking in, and trying to win her approval, you remove the need for her to think about you. You've already done all the emotional work for her. Think about it this way. If something is always available, it stops feeling special. But the moment it's no longer guaranteed, the mind starts paying attention. Chasing also sends a message most men never realize they're sending. It communicates insecurity. It tells her that you don't trust your own value enough to stand still and let attraction grow naturally. And insecurity, no matter how well it's hidden, quietly kills desire. Women are drawn to men who respect their own time, who don't overextend, and who don't need to chase attention to feel validated. So, if you want a woman to start missing you, especially one who seems indifferent, the first rule is simple. Stop chasing, step back, create space. That space is where curiosity is born, and curiosity is where attraction begins. Most men believe that constant communication is the key to keeping a woman interested. Good morning texts, check ins throughout the day, long conversations that never seem to end. On the surface, this looks like effort, but in reality, it often has the opposite effect. When your words are always available, they lose their impact. Silence, on the other hand, has weight. It creates space, and space creates curiosity. In female psychology, curiosity is far more powerful than constant reassurance. When you're not always present, her mind starts filling in the gaps. She begins to wonder what you're doing, where your attention is, and why you're not reaching out the way you used to. That wondering is the beginning of missing you. Here's the truth most men overlook. Attention is a form of currency. When you give away freely and constantly, it becomes ordinary. But when it's limited, but when it's limited, it suddenly feels valuable. This doesn't mean ignoring her or playing immature games. Silence is not about punishment. It's about balance. It's about showing that your life doesn't revolve around your phone or her responses. A man who doesn't need to constantly check in communicates confidence, independence, and emotional control. And those qualities naturally pull a woman closer. So remember this. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can say to a woman is nothing at all. Let the pause speak. Let the space work. That silence will often create more impact than any message you could send. One of the biggest mistakes men make in dating is believing that being available at all times will somehow increase attraction. So they reply instantly, cancel plans, and keep their schedule open just in case she calls. What they don't realize is that constant availability doesn't build desire, it removes it. When you're always there, you become predictable. And predictability leads to boredom. There's no tension, no challenge, and no reason for her to emotionally invest. She already knows you'll be there no matter what. Human nature doesn't value what comes too easily. We value what requires effort, patience, and requires effort, patience, and intention. The same rule applies here. When you make yourself too accessible, you quietly tell her that your time has little value. Men who are attractive to women don't revolve their lives around one person. They have responsibilities, goals, friendships, and passions that matter to them. And sometimes that means they're simply not available. Saying, I can't right now, I'm busy, isn't rude, it's healthy. It shows that you respect your own time and expect others to respect it too. The more you show that your world doesn't stop for her attention, the more she begins to notice when you're not. She begins to notice when you're not around. And that absence creates space for appreciation. Availability doesn't create longing. Distance does. And when that distance is grounded in self respect, it becomes incredibly self respect. It becomes incredibly attractive. Most men are taught that honesty means laying everything on the table, sharing every thought, every plan, and every feeling as quickly as possible. They believe that being completely open will create connection. But when it comes to attraction, too much transparency too soon does the much transparency too soon does the opposite. Attraction isn't built through logic, it's built through emotion, and emotion thrives on curiosity. When a woman doesn't fully know you yet, her mind naturally fills in the gaps. She wonders about you, she imagines you, and that mental engagement is what keeps attraction alive. When you explain everything, overshare your feelings, or constantly update her on your every move, you remove the mystery that fuels desire. There's nothing left to discover, nothing left to anticipate. Think about the stories or movies that hold your attention the longest. It's never the ones where everything is revealed at the beginning. It's the suspense, the unanswered questions, the slow unfolding that keeps you invested. The same principle applies here. Mystery doesn't mean deception, it means pacing. It means allowing attraction to develop naturally instead of forcing emotional closeness before it's earned. When you don't reveal everything at once, you create depth. You give her something to think about when you're not around. And that thinking is where missing you begins. Remember this, it's not what you tell her that stays in her mind, it's what you leave unsaid. One of the fastest ways to lose attraction is by competing for a woman's attention, commenting immediately, trying to outshine other men, changing your behavior the moment you sense competition. This mindset is damaging because the moment you compete, you place yourself below her. You silently communicate that her attention is something you need to earn rather than something that should be naturally exchanged. Men who understand their value don't compete, they attract. A man who is confident in himself isn't worried about who else is texting her or who else is trying to impress her. He knows that if he has to fight for attention, the dynamic is already wrong. Competing also signals insecurity. It shows that you're measuring your worth against other men instead of standing firmly in your own. And insecurity, no matter how subtle, weakens attraction. Here's the reality. When you stop competing, something interesting happens. You remove pressure. You stop chasing validation. And that shift alone can completely change how a woman sees you. Women are drawn to men who create demand, not men who beg for it. When you act like your time and focus are valuable, others begin to treat them that way too. So don't rush to prove yourself. Don't fight for attention. Live as if you already know your worth. When you do that, her curiosity naturally turns towards you. Most men believe that showing more love is the way to win a woman's heart. So they give more attention, more reassurance, and more emotional effort. But there's a hard truth many men learn too late. Love without confidence doesn't create attraction, it creates dependency. Women aren't drawn to affection first, they're drawn to certainty. Confidence signals strength, stability, and emotional control. It's what makes a man feel safe and compelling without him needing to say a word. Think about how often you've seen a woman choose a man who wasn't the nicest, the richest, or even the most attractive, but carried himself with quiet self belief. That wasn't an accident. Confidence changes how everything you do is perceived. Real confidence isn't loud or arrogant, it's calm. It's knowing where you stand and being comfortable with it. It shows in your decisions, your boundaries, and your willingness to walk away when something doesn't align with your standards. Confidence is built through action, not words. It's saying what you mean and meaning what you say. It's not over explaining yourself. It's not chasing approval, and it's not shrinking yourself to be liked. Affection can make a woman feel appreciated, but confidence is what makes her crave you long after. Conversations fade and emotions settle. Confidence is what lingers in her mind. It's what makes her replay moments, question her assumptions, and feel your absence more deeply. If you want to be unforgettable, lead with confidence. Love can follow later. Nothing triggers emotional awareness faster than the possibility of loss. This isn't just dating psychology, it's human psychology. People don't fully value what feels guaranteed, they value what they sense they could lose. And this is where many men make a critical mistake. They make themselves permanent fixtures in a woman's life before she's earned that level of access. They stay consistent no matter how little effort or respect they receive. And in doing so, they remove urgency. When a woman believes you'll always be there no matter what, there's no reason for her to reflect, adjust, or invest. For her to reflect, adjust, or invest emotionally. But the moment she senses a shift, less availability, less emotional dependence, less pursuit, something changes. She starts asking questions internally. Why does he feel different? Is he moving on? Did I misjudge his value? That internal questioning is powerful. It pulls her attention inward. And attention directed inward is where desire begins to grow. This is not about manipulation or pretending to pull away. It's about self respect. It's about showing through your actions that your time and energy are not unlimited and not guaranteed. When you're willing to walk away from dynamics that don't serve you, you communicate strength, and strength creates attraction. You don't need to announce your absence. You don't need dramatic exits. You simply live your life fully with or without her. And in that quiet shift, she begins to feel your absence in a way words never could. Here's the part most men don't want to accept but need to hear. Being kind, supportive, and available doesn't automatically make you desirable. You can be a good man with good intentions and still be overlooked if you don't create boundaries and self respect. Women don't miss men who stay no matter how they're treated. They miss men who have the strength to step back when their value isn't recognized. Love without standards turns into dependence, and dependence quietly erodes attraction. The men women remember aren't the ones who begged, explained, or waited endlessly. They're the men who knew when to stop giving access, when to stop overinvesting, and when to walk away with dignity. Absence isn't punishment, it's clarity. When you remove yourself from a situation that doesn't respect you, you give her the space to reflect on what she lost. And sometimes that realization comes too late. That's the truth most men learn after the fact. Respect yourself first, or you'll be forgotten. Now, I want to hear from you. Have you ever been in a situation where you chased too hard and felt attraction slip away? Or maybe you experienced the opposite, where pulling back, creating space, or staying silent actually brought her closer. Share your story in the comments. I read them and I engage with this community because this channel isn't about ego or empty motivation. It's about understanding psychology, building self respect, and becoming the kind of man who is naturally valued. If this video gave you clarity, make sure you like and subscribe. Turn on notifications so you don't miss what's coming next. In the next video, we'll talk about something most men misunderstand: why giving a woman your full loyalty too early might be the very reason she pulls away. I'll see you there.